Hi guys, I'm back with a new video, and this time we're gonna be playing against the AI, just for the laugh, and just in order to have something to show in the background. But this video is not about beating the AI or anything of that sort. It's mostly around. It's mostly going to be around the discussion about the new FIFA, the upcoming FIFA 18, and I kind of wanted to give some of my ideas of what some nice new features would be for FIFA 18, or some other next FIFA to come, if not in 18, which I doubt most of the things will be there, but it's what people would call a wish list, really. These are the things that I would like to see in FIFA, the things that I feel would make the game much more interesting, at least according to me. And I'm pretty sure there's going to be a few people who are going to agree with some of the items that I'm gonna be talking about. And so let's start off by discussing my first idea and the first thing that I would want to see in FIFA. And this is FUT Challenges. And you will notice that most of my wish list is going to be around FUT, because this is what I enjoy by far, more than any of the other, I would say, like things or pieces that FIFA has to offer, modes, if you will. So I do enjoy FIFA FUT a lot, and so many of my propositions are going to revolve around that. Um, but yeah, I guess that some people also enjoy career. And I do like career as well, but or pro, for example. But yeah, by far the most my most playable mode is FUT, and has always been like that in the last few years. So let's get down to it. So my first point is and my first idea is FUT Challenges. And by FUT Challenges, what I mean there is give incentive for people to have new challenges to complete each week. And that's I'm not talking about the typical tournaments, or I'm not talking about the squad building challenges. I'm talking about actual soccer challenges, football challenges, and this comes down to things like beating this team in the last 20 minutes, or being having to score an equalize and then score another one, or win on penalties, or things like that. Um, Pretty much give challenges to people in different difficulties, which will give more points, of course, on completion. And so, by completing these challenges, people will either be getting coins, or another great idea, I think, is to give draft tokens, FIFA draft tokens, which are pretty expensive, in costing 15k of coins. And I think an incentive like that would be loved by people, like completing some challenges and getting a FIFA token, a draft token, or coins for that. I think that would enrich FUT gameplay quite a lot. And so the second thing that I would really like to see in FUT is more options for co-op. And first of all, I'd like to see a co-op FUT team, and I'm really not sure why this doesn't exist. I actually love playing with friends, and I do play quite a lot with one of my friends, for example. And we pretty much our only option. We happen to be remote, and our only option is seasons, really. And I would really love it if FIFA 18 had the option to create a FUT team among two people, and that being used among two people only, for example, or maybe not only, but have the option at least, and being managed by two people as well. I think that would make FUT much more interesting. in my eyes at least, to have the option of playing with one of my friends with a third team. I'd really love this option. So another thing that I would also want to say is bringing back the FIFA tournaments that existed in, I think this was like 3 years back or so, maybe two, when we had like 10 tournaments that we could play. I would actually like to see even more. I really don't see why we don't have more tournaments. I'm pretty sure that the EA wants us to be playing online instead. But I enjoy single player. I like it a lot, and I would really like to see more tournaments, more tournament options. This is something that I really hope that EA brings back. I kind of doubt it, but I love it. I mean, I would really like such an option. And with that said, I would also like a very similar option for two versus two co-op, for example, or or 2-on-2 FUT, like two players. The thing that I was talking about earlier, like controlling two players controlling a FUT team and maybe playing against other two players or even single player, and giving them the option to play more tournaments and more challenges, like co-op challenges, for example, similar to the things that I mentioned earlier. Having to score a last-minute goal or something like that, or equalize or win on penalties, things like that, score on a free kick or something like that. Options like that, I think, would make the game much more interesting and give us more to work for and try to achieve. So the next thing that I would really want to see is bringing the actual real world tournaments in FUT and in FIFA generally. I'd love to see Champions League, for example, or the UEFA Cup. And I know there are some licensing issues, which if I remember correctly, they're being overcome this year or maybe the next one. But I would really love to see Champions League being played in FUT, for example. This is an option that I would love to play, and it's a unique tournament. It has its own music, for example, theme, I'd say, which is amazing. It has its own routines, its own it has like its own how do you say um, uh, I can find a word, but it's actually a different kind of tournament. It really feels different, and it's unique, I'd say. It's not the same as the standard tournaments that don't really mean anything. It would be great, and it will feel awesome to win a Champions League cup, for example, playing against the best teams, and getting to listen to the anthem and all that jazz. I'd really love to have this option, and so sorry for not finding the words earlier. So another thing that I would really like to see in FIFA comes from Pro Evolution, actually. And I don't know how many people like Pro Evolution. Personally, it's not my favorite. I much more prefer FIFA. But Pro Evolution does have some good things, and many bad things as well. Like not being able to skip a cutscene with pressing X, and having to press options instead is a terrible idea. I really don't get it. But that said, there's something that I really like in Pro that I think FIFA would benefit from, and that's the achievements that players can go for when starting a new FUT team, pretty much. And I don't know if you have played the Pro Evolution, but if you have, I think Pro Evolution works with GP points, if I remember correctly, sort of like similar to experience. And Pro Evolution gives you these GP points once you gain achievements. So, for example, if you score with a header or with a cross, if you score a long shot, things like that. If you score like a low-driven shot, Pro Evolution would actually give you coins, or what is mentioned as GP points in Pro Evolution. So I would like to see the same being implemented in FIFA, and similar idea. And yeah, it doesn't really have to give a lot of coins. I mean, you could settle for like a combination of I don't know, like a 10,000 points maybe for all the achievements combined, something like that, which won't really affect the market a lot, especially since everybody has the option of finishing them. But I find it very nice to have the option of completing challenges like that, or achieving things, and being paid for it. So getting coins for that, for example, or even tokens in some situations. If you complete, let's say, 10 specific achievements, for example, in one tier, you could be getting like a draft token, something like that. I think that would make a lot. That would make a lot of sense, and people would go for it. I know that I would personally love it. I really want to see something like that being implemented in FIFA. Hope it will eventually. I'm not sure about 18, but I really hope that it would be a thing sometime later. So another thing, and the last two things are kind of coming from different worlds, but I think they are the most interesting options, or the most interesting ideas, I should say, in my wish list. I'd really love to see them implemented, both of those things. So first thing is, I would love to see a Starcraft 2 like ladder in FUT, and by that I pretty much mean players having the option to play games as they do right now, but instead of playing seasons, have the option to play ladder games. And I don't know if you're familiar with a chess ladder or the Starcraft 2 ladder, but the way it works is people playing with each other are pretty much getting their points if they beat them, and it comes down to how many points your opponent has. So, for example, how it works is, think about it like this: if you are playing an opponent who has 1,000 points and you have 2,000 points, if you beat them, you just gain like 1 or 2 points, for example. But if they beat you, they may be getting 30 points, just because they've beaten somebody who is much higher rated than them. And that's how ladders work. So ladder is the idea that you pretty much gain a lot of points if you beat somebody stronger. You get fair points if you beat somebody at your level, and you get low points if you beat somebody who is much worse than you, or I should say lower skilled. So, and in that sense, we could be having like FIFA Grandmasters, for example, or FIFA Masters, similar to what chess has. And I would really go for this idea. I would really absolutely love to see this being implemented. I think that this would make the game very interesting, and it would help people actually place their skills against other masters, grandmasters, FIFA masters, whatever the ranks would be. I think that would be super interesting, and I would definitely play a lot of those games. And last thing that I would want to see is a co-op mode for FUT. And this comes from the new co-op mode in Starcraft 2, which is about a combination of commanders in Starcraft, where two people are actually playing specific challenges against the AI. And I would love to see something like that implemented in FUT. And it's not entirely similar to the achievements that I talked about earlier. In this case, I'm talking about more specific scenarios and more detailed scenarios. Hope you like these ideas. I would like to hear what you have to say about them. Let me know, please. And I'll see you next time. Bye.